The Incredible Hulk was the second movie in the MCU to come out, and it was also the first movie that confirmed for the audience that the MCU, as we know it, was going to be a thing because the after credits scene had Robert Downey Jr. in it. Before this, superhero movies didn't cross over this way. So that scene was mind-bending for audiences at the time. I know now it's like, oh yeah, well of course. But at the time, like, it was like, what is happening? That's Iron Man, and he's saying they're gonna do Avengers? But this movie is often considered like the black sheep of the MCU because it's the only one that wasn't made by Marvel Studios. And it stars Edward Norton as Bruce Banner, instead of the actor who we have now, who I love, who I know his name. Mark Ruffalo. Jeez Louise. And it's also got like a different tone than like the box that most of the MCU fits inside of. So it just feels very different. Today I'm going to go back and rewatch The Incredible Hulk and see, is it worth the hate? Hey, so two clarifying things. One, I think I just said that this is the only MCU film that Marvel Studios didn't make, and that's not true because Sony makes all of the individual Spider-Man movies, so Homecoming, Far From Home, and the third one. But they purposefully made them to feel like the other MCU movies because the MCU and its general tone was so well established. But this one, The Incredible Hulk, was the second MCU movie. There was only Iron Man before it. There was no like general feel or formula, like rule established yet. So that's why this one feels so different. And also, the whole reason that I'm doing this video and going back and rewatching this movie is because of the She-Hulk series, and especially in the first episode. Bruce Banner talks a lot about his early time as the Hulk and how he eventually learned to get control of it, and this movie, I believe, focuses on a good bit of that, so that's why we're doing this in the first place. Okay, now let's watch this thing. Okay, I'm 3 minutes into the movie. I'm not going to be stopping and recording my thoughts this frequently, but that opening montage, it's weird. All of the, aside from like the newspaper clippings and like the orders and stuff, all of the paper stuff, which like did sure make enough sense for an intro montage, the acting in it is so bizarre because these people are pantomiming and clearly not even like faking saying words. It's like the general going up to Bruce and going like rah, 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 and Bruce being like rah, 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 and then he walks out. He's sad. It's so weird. It's so weird. So we might be in for more of a trip than I remember, but I guess we'll see. Alright, so I just finished watching the movie. I don't think that I've actually stopped and talked to the camera since 3 minutes in when I was laughing at the montage. But that's because usually I stop and I talk if I just watched something that was either really, really, really bad, or really, really, really good, or particularly funny, or anything that I'm just like, oh, I gotta get this out in the moment. But nothing like that really happened. I mostly enjoyed the ride. Parts of it bored me a little bit, and I was like, okay, why don't we... It wasn't particularly memorable. I know I've seen this movie a couple times. It's been many years, but there were a lot of details that I forgot. It's fine. It feels like 2009, 2010-ish. I forget exactly what year it came out, but it feels like an action movie from then. None of the characters I felt particularly attached to. Even like Bruce Banner, he was fine, but yeah, nothing about this really stuck out to me. So between that, it just being like an okay, a fine movie, and it feeling so different from the MCU, I think that's why it is a forgettable thing off on the side. The black sheep of the family. There are parts of it that definitely tie in with the rest of the MCU. Obviously, we got Abomination showing up again in Shang-Chi, and I believe he's showing up again later on in She-Hulk, if I'm remembering a scene from a trailer correctly. And we've got General Ross comes back, obviously, in Civil War, and I think Infinity War 2. And obviously, Robert Downey Jr. coming in at the end of the movie. He comes in, he goes to General Ross, he's like, hey, it's me, I'm Tony Stark. I'm also Iron Man, and we're doing the Avengers. I mean, he doesn't say that word for word, but that's basically what happens in that scene. Which again, at the time, was like mind-blowing, especially when you consider that this was a Universal Studios movie, and the first one was a Marvel Studios movie. Obviously, they're both Marvel characters. But before this, we had seen, like, you know, the X-Men movies, the Spider-Man movies, the Blade movies, the Fantastic Four movies, and none of those connected. Even the DC movies, where it's always been Warner Brothers that had the ability to put their characters, you know, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, all of those together in movies, but it was just never done. This was the first time, I'm like 95% sure, the first time that for anything of this scale and size that the lead of another superhero property was in a movie and saying, hey, this is going to happen more also. Like this, I'm not just here as like an Easter egg or something. I'm not a cameo. Stan Lee's got those covered. No, I'm here to say, hey, we're doing this. We're doing this more. So that was really cool. And for the time, monumental in the MCU, but obviously looking back on it now, I mean, we've had Avengers, Age of Ultron, Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame, and a whole bunch of superheroes popping into each other's movies pretty frequently, so it's lost a lot of its pizzazz now. But is this movie worth the hate? I don't think it's worth saying like, oh, this is the worst of the MCU. It doesn't fit super nicely in the MCU, but it wasn't bad. It's not Iron Man 2. It's not Thor: The Dark World. So, I don't know. I don't think it's worth being like hated on, but will I watch this movie again? Not for a while. Not for a long time. Probably not, honestly. It's just meh. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you're enjoying She-Hulk a decent amount. The first episode caught my attention. I think this video will be coming up before the second episodes come out, but I'll be watching that when it comes out. I'm excited to see where it goes. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great week.